Hey everyone, I welcome you all to this video. And in the last video, we have taken some examples to understand about the common table expressions. Now in this video, we will take some more examples to understand about common table expressions, and we will basically take some examples to see how multiple common table expressions can be defined with the help of a single with keyword by using with keyword only once. So let's take the examples to understand that. Again, first of all, we do not want to disturb the main table that we have. So I can first of all write select star from employees. And if I execute this code, you will see that this is the data that we have. Now I will create a replica of employees table. So we can write select star into, let's name it as #1 from dbo.employees. And if I'll now execute this statement written in line number 5, so a replica of employees table was created. Now let's discuss about the CTEs, because since we will discuss about the update statement, insert statement, delete statement, so we do not want to disturb the main table, the base table. That's why we have created this temporary table. Now Control R. Now let's come to line number 7 and let's write example 1. All right. So first of all, let's say we want to define a common table expression. So we will have to write the with keyword, and we can write with CTE1. Let's name this as CTE1. So with CTE1 as keyword, bracket open, bracket close. And let's say we want to write that select star from #1 where employee ID in 1,2, and then if you want to define a CTE just after CTE1, so after this parenthesis in line number 10, you will have to write comma the name of the second common table expression, that is CTE2. So you need not write with keyword again. We already have used with keyword here. So now you need not write with keyword again in line number 10. So we can write CTE2 as bracket open, bracket close. And here we can write select star from #1 where employee ID in, let's say 3 and 4. 3,4. So if I'll talk about CTE1, so here you can see that on employee ID, we have applied the condition that where employee ID is equal to 1 or 2. And if I'll talk about CTE2, so it has been defined in such a way so that the employee ID is equal to 3 or 4. So that's the way we have defined these two common table expressions, that is CTE1 and CTE2. So in this manner, in this way, multiple common table expressions can be defined by using the with keyword single time once only. And now let's see that how we can use a select statement along with this multiple CTEs that have been defined. So we can write select star from #1, then union all select star from not #1, but the table that we have created is CTE1, and then select star from CTE2. So in the select statements written here, we are basically referring to the common table expressions that we have created. And now we will have to select this complete part, and now we can execute the statement. So you can see that this statement now displays the data only for those records where employee ID is equal to 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2 because it was defined in CTE1, as you can see here, and 3, 4 because it was defined in CTE2 from here. And now since we have used union all in the select statement, so we basically clubbed the two outputs, and that's where we got this final outcome. So in that way, multiple common table expressions can be used along with select statements. Now let's take some examples to understand about the insert, update, and delete statements as well. So I will simply press Ctrl R. and let's write example 2. And here let's define other common table expressions. So we can write with CTE, let's name it as 3. So CTE 3 as bracket open, bracket close. Let's say this time we do not want all the columns from hash 1, but we only want employee ID and first name. So we can write select employee ID, comma, first name from hash 1, and let's provide a condition where employee ID is equal to 1. We only want the data for employee ID equal to 1. Now let's write one more common table expression. So we can write CTE4 as bracket open, bracket close, and we can write select employee ID comma first name from hash 1 where employee ID in 3. So in CTE3, while defining CTE3, we have stated that employee ID has to be equal to 1. And while defining CTE4, we have stated that the employee ID has to be equal to 3. And for this CTE3 as well, for CTE3, we have chosen only 2 columns, that is employee ID and first name. Similarly, for CTE4 as well, we have selected 2 columns, right? Now, let's say we want to insert the combined data of these 2 common table expressions, whatever we will get if we will run a simple select statement on these common table expressions, whatever data that we'll get, that combined data, we want to insert that data into a new temporary table named hash2. So how we can do that? So we can use insert statement for that. So we can write insert into, since hash2 doesn't exist, so we can write select star into hash2 from bracket open, bracket close, and we can write select star from CTE3 union all, select star from CTE4. And now we will have to select this entire part that is written from so select star into hash2 from, and then we will have to give a name to the subquery. So maybe we can write X here, or you can give any name. And this is the syntax, and this is the way or the manner in which we can write the code. And now if we will select this entire piece of code that is written from line 19 to line 29, so a new temp table will be created, which will be named hash2, and it will be containing the combined output of CTE3 and CTE4. So if I'll execute this statement, so 2 rows impacted. So only 2 rows should have been impacted, because for CTE3, we specified that the employee ID has to be equal to 1. So there was 1 row corresponding to that. And in CTE4, we have specified that the employee ID has to be equal to 3. So here also only 1 row was existing. So exactly only 2 records should have been inserted into hash2 table. If we will now run a simple select statement to see that what is contained in hash2 table, so we can simply write select star from hash2. If I will now execute this statement, so you can see that it consists of data only for employee ID equal to 1 and employee ID equal to 3. So that's how we can use the multiple common table expressions to insert the data into a new table, right? And we can also use this piece of code to insert the data into an existing table. So now let's see how it happens. We can write example 3. And for this purpose, we can copy the same code that we have written from line 19 to line 29. I'll copy it and I'll paste it here. And this time we will not be using select all into hash2. Why? Because now hash2 exists, right? Before this example 3, that is why we were discussing about example 2, hash 2 didn't exist. That's why we were able to use select all into. Now this time we will have to use insert statement. So how we can write that statement? So I'm modifying this part. And we will have to write insert into hash 2 select star from this table. That is the combination of CTE3 and CTE4. If we will now execute the SQL code written from line 34 to 44, so you will see 2 more records were impacted. Now if you will run simple select statement on hash 2 table, that is select star from hash 2, so you will see that there are a total of 4 records. Employee ID 1 appears twice and employee ID 3 also appears twice. Why? Because we inserted the records in hash 2 table in example 2 as well. And same records were inserted into the hash 2 table in example 3 as well. But since when we were discussing about example 2, hash 2 didn't exist. So we used select all into. But now in the case of example 3, hash 2 exists. That's why we have used insert into select. So that's the difference. Now we can take some other examples to understand about the delete statement and update statement being used with multiple common table expressions. So let's take those examples as well. So we can write example. This is example number 4, right? So example 4. And we can write with CTE, since this part is going to remain the same. Let's keep this part as same as example 3. So I'll copy it and I'll paste it here in example number 4. And let's change the employee IDs this time. So let's say we want the data for employee ID 2 and might be for employee ID 4. And this time we want salary also to be there. So we can write salary. And let's include salary here as well. So we can write comma salary. Fine. Now we are interested in deleting those records from the hash 1 table where the employee ID belongs to the CTE3 and CTE4. Now, what do we mean by that? Let's take an example to understand this. So we will write delete from hash 1 where employee ID inside the subquery, you can write select distinct employee ID from CTE3, and then we can write union all. And after union all, we can write select distinct employee ID from CTE4. So basically, the employee IDs from CTE3 and CTE4 will be clubbed, and from those distinct employee IDs, according to those employee IDs, the data will be deleted from hash 1 table, right? So we can write it in this way, and let's execute this statement written in line 48 to 57, and let's see what happens. So 2 rows impacted. 2 rows impacted, why? Because there was 1 row in hash 1 table where employee ID was equal to 2, and there was exactly 1 record in hash 1 table where employee ID was equal to 4. So corresponding to employee ID 2 and corresponding to employee ID 4, now the records were deleted from hash 1 table. That's why 2 rows were impacted. Now, if you want to see the hash 1 table, that how it looks now, so we can simply run a select statement and we can write select star from hash 1 to see the output. If I'll now select this statement written in line 60, and if I'll execute it, so you can see that employee ID 2 and 4 cannot be found here because employee ID 2 and 4 were deleted. That's why. So this is how we can use delete statement along with multiple common table expressions. Now let's take the last example to understand about that how update statement can be used along with your common table expressions. So we can write, let's copy the example 4 only. We'll copy the example 4 and we'll paste it here. And let's modify it a little bit. So we will write example 5. And this time we will not be using the delete statement, but this time we will be using update. Fine. So let's see how it works. Now here, let's change the employee IDs. Let's say first of all, let's select the simple select statement to see the data that we have. So now we are left with employee IDs 1 to 10, leaving 2 and 4. So Control R. Let's say we want that CTE3 should be defined such that it consists of the data for employee ID 9, and CTE4 should be defined as such that it consists of the data corresponding to employee ID 10. Now, let's say we want to write update #1 where employee ID not in. Where employee ID not in, select distinct employee IDs from CTE3. Union all, select distinct employee IDs from CTE4. So distinct employee IDs from CTE3 and CTE4 will be employee ID number 9 and employee ID number 10. So leaving employee ID 9 and 10, all other employee IDs will be updated. So we can write update #1 set employee ID, let's say equal to 100, where employee ID not in, select distinct employee ID from CTE3, union all, select distinct employee ID from CTE4. So leaving employee IDs 9 and 10, all other employee IDs will be updated in #1 table. So if I'll now select this SQL code written from line 63 to 72, and if I'll execute it, so 6 rows were impacted. And now if we will run the simple select statement on #1 table to see that how the data looks now, so you can see that apart from employee ID 9 and 10, all other employee IDs were updated and they were made equal to 100. So that's how multiple common table expressions can be used with update statements as well. So I hope this video was helpful, and we'll meet in the next session. We'll discuss about other important topics. Till then, thank you. Bye-bye.